I made this argument a while back, right? This argument that, every generation had to face these types of people, the people that think, art equals reality, fiction equals reality, things that aren't, reality, but it's supposed to simulate it, equates to reality, right? And this was the way since the Holy Roman Empire, right? And the Holy Roman Empire, they had censors, so people would chisel away titties. People would, forbid art or repaint art, like pieces that have already existed, and they would just paint over it. They'll cover up the dick and the dongs of statues. They would make something that took time, money, and effort. It was universally beloved by all, and they would change it to fit this small fringe ideology, or even if the ideology was widespread, just this subsect of a subsect of individuals, that were small and fringe. And in today's situation, you see that done with art, like video games. You've seen it done with manga. You've seen it done, with TV shows and movies, right? And now they're going after Dragon Ball. So, okay, what do we see here? I've heard old tales of a tribe in the area with right eyes specialized for sniping. It's like tribe. The original, like what they originally said was race. Like I've heard of an old tales of a race in this area. But again, and if you think of the word tribe, right? You think of a small, secluded, group of people. You don't think of like, people who inhabited. You don't think of like a planet full of people as a tribe. Like you don't think of billions of people as a tribe. You think of them as a race. But again, this is yet another wave of censorship, and it's odd that they're going after Dragon Ball, right? Because Toriyama died, you know, and Dragon Ball was world renowned, right? You know, like I'm a consider Dragon Ball inclusive because around the fucking world, people know what Dragon Ball is. There's a goddamn like Dragon Ball themed amusement park opening up in Saudi Arabia right now. Just a whole Dragon Ball themed amusement park, right? Like this is how big Dragon Ball is. Like I know it's huge in South America and Latin America, like it is a cultural phenomenon. It was made by one Japanese man with a pen and a vision, right? But again, even something this includes, like I consider this to be an inclusive product because it includes people around the world with completely different ideology, like a completely different culture, a completely different society, but all of these came together to enjoy Dragon Ball. So, and again, if that's not inclusive, right? And I guess we're operating off a completely different definition, right? But the problem is, I operate off the definition that literally 90% of people would agree with. Even your fucking mother, like your fucking mother, will agree with this definition. But again, you have just this small fringe radical minority of Americans who believe in this ideological crusade to censor art. And censorship universally doesn't create, like, I don't know a single situation where censorship actually created something, but I know 100 situations where it's taken away and made things worse. Like the aforementioned statues, like they made them worse, made them ugly on purpose, right? For an ideology, and now they're doing the exact same thing with Dragon Ball and with movies and games. Again, for the sake of this small fringe ideology, right? But let's go to other situations, right? Like here. Uh, Only a few members of our tribe survived the purge. Again, this doesn't make sense even in this context because the word here is supposed to be race, but they changed it, right? Did die, why don't you go and join the rest of your tribe? Like, what in the fuck? Right? And again, they're doing this to something that's popular. Like, look, if you really need to censor something because just like you cannot help yourself, it's like the schizophrenia is entering your brain, and you're like, oh god, I've got to censor, please. For heaven's sake, I need to take something away from people. Why do it to something that's popular, right? Why do it to something that people will immediately point out and shit on? It's like you're looking for enemies, like you're actively acting with the intent of making enemies. Again, enemies that they'll eventually be called racist. They'll eventually be called sexist because everyone knows the tactic. Like this isn't anything new, right? And it just doesn't work on me. At the end of the day, I'd rather art just be left the fuck alone. Like I remember playing this Dukes of Hazards fucking PlayStation game, and I thought that game was fucking lit. But again, they're going after the Dukes of Hazard for the exact same way, right? Because it has the Confederate flag. And it's like, okay, why? So I get it. A flag makes your schizophrenia swell up and you want to take it away. But again, Dukes of Hazard was a cultural phenomenon, and there's absolutely no reason to change it or to take things away from it, right? And absolutely now that the original artist isn't alive, and again you have this small minority of people who cannot create, like they only exist to take away, to take things that they personally don't like based off their small subjective mindset and take it away. The Sand Tribe is yet another push to the brink of extinction by Frieza. Again, it's like you Cerealians were never such a savage tribe, were you? Like I don't understand. And again, in this context, it just makes like that word is just dumb, right? It's like I don't know what else to say about this. Like if this isn't censorship, I don't know what is. It's like they're taking a word that means something completely different and they're trying to use it in the context of something completely different, but it just does not work. It's just very, very odd. And again, like every fucking generation has to deal with these people, right? Rather, it was the evangelical Christians that were like, "Oh, D&D is satanic, metal is satanic, anything that is fun, any that is addictive is the devil." It's like, again, it's people's attempt not to sound stupid, right? Or games turn you into a fucking shooter. Like if you play GTA, oh, because you want to shoot people. It's like these are things people say because there's actual legitimate problems on the planet or in the society, and they just want to shove it off to something like just small and idiotic. At the end of the day, nothing really changes. Same thing with if you play games like Stellar Blade, it's because you're sexist. Or if you play the Wizard game, it's because you're transphobic. Like these are the exact same tactics being employed. And I guess people have Alzheimer's, or again, people want to be part of the ideology and want the grift to exist. Because again, these exact same things are happening now, and no one's saying anything. And again, it's the artist's subjective, clique that are objectively fine with these things happening. And again, it's normal people that are like, "What the are you doing?" It's like, do you think you're changing the world by replacing the word race with tribe? Like, what change do you think is you're doing? right? Because I know what you're doing, right? You're justifying a little thing called piracy, right? You're justifying people sailing the high seas just to spite you, you know? And again, what are you creating? Were you dick all, right? Like it's frustrating. Like they go after something that is popular, like Dragon Ball. For whatever reason, they have to go after it and censor it. Again, uh, IP that is world renowned, something that is popular, right? But again, they defend Assassin's Creed Shadow, and not only that, if you do not buy the product, if you do not buy the Ubisoft product, you're a racist and a sexist and a this is and a that is. It's like, is that really all it takes anymore? Right? It's to not consume Ubisoft product. Right? It's just, and you have to. It's odd. Like everyone says this, right? But sometimes you just gotta reiterate the insanity for the people in the back. Like they are using ideology to uplift themselves. Get their paycheck, extract wealth from you, the hard-working individual, and redistribute it amongst interest groups, right? And at the end of the day, nothing is changed, nothing is fixed. They just create enemies that they'll again eventually call racist, eventually call sexist, and again by they I mean, the ideologically possessed woke individuals, which on one hand will say art is subjective, but will objectively know what to change, to piss people off. And again, they know this will piss people off, but they do it anyway. An IP that was actually inclusive, you know? And it's like, that sounds pretty damn woke to me, right? And I'm not going to keep reiterating the prescriptive definition of woke. Like, everyone knows. If you don't know it, it's either because you're ideologically driven and you know what it means, you're just trying to do the whole deconstructionist thing, or you've been living under a rock. But anyway, Lucy, you good? But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. Peace.